Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to some more Fan Fridays, and I am very excited because we have a Dunsparce submission, and Dunsparce is a terrifying Pokemon. It has Serene Grace and Rock Slide. 60% chance to flinch both opponents is pretty nuts, and the fastest Dunsparce alive. After putting in the code, you can see it immediately. Speed swap onto the Dunsparce. How are they going to make it work? We get to see all. I'm wondering like what else we can get out of this. So it's gonna be pretty crazy. But yeah, speed swap on Dunsparce means it outspeeds everything. Like that's where you don't even need the Adamant Pheromosa or the Modest. You just go and run a speedy nature, and then everything just kind of snowballs into absolute craziness. And I was about to say, are we also going to see a special Z move or some kind of really crazy thing? Actually, what is... Oh, no way. So, speed swap on the Pheromosa into the Dunsparce. So, I guess that helps retain some speed on the Pheromosa after the switch, like, just in case. So, Dunsparce going to survive the Stone Edge, get a Coil. So, also, Coil, to make sure it does more damage, have extra durability, accuracy for the Rock Slide, and then Incineroar decides to target the Pheromosa, and then Pheromosa will go down off that. No Focus Sash when you are using the Z move. So that's pretty nuts. Then Tapu Fini comes in, no status, Heal Pulse. It does everything that it needs to do. Awesome. Okay, and then let's see. Let's count the flinches, guys. So Rock Slide, the +1 Rock Slide onto the Incineroar. Yeah, Dunsparce unfortunately doesn't have a lot of damage. It isn't really known for its damage. It's known just for the shenanigans. So Lycanroc going to avoid the Muddy Water. Probably need to get hit just as much as the Incineroar. And Incineroar takes a big hit as well. Lycanroc actually gets a Stone Edge off. Will target down the Tapu Fini. Oh, Incineroar does get flinched. So yeah, that's pretty much it. 60% chance each. Someone is getting flinched. And you better respect the Dunsparce. Like, a fast Dunsparce is something you need to worry about. So Rock Slide will finish off the Incineroar, and now it's on to Lycanroc. Will it get flinched is the question. I feel like this is... You need to Heal Pulse. You need to get Dunsparce a full. I'm scared seeing my baby, missing health when it's this set up. That's going to be Muddy Water, and that will be enough to take down Lycanroc. I mean, that's it. Like, if Dunsparce can get its feet in, even though it doesn't have any feet, if it can just sit down and get going, like once it has that hold on the battle, I don't know what's going to happen, like how they can find a way around it. So that's Executor right there, and it's also going to be Raichu. So both these Pokemon going to get outsped, and then we'll see where the damage breakdown is, and the Tapu Fini just kind of makes it interesting. So we see a Wiki Berry on the Dunsparce, which is absolutely beautiful. And then we're going to see the Leaf Storm onto Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini will go down from that craziness right there. And then Dunsparce gets to Drill Run. Okay, so it's also running some other moves as well. The Drill Run, super effective hit, will not be enough to take down the Raichu. And then Dunsparce now has to deal with a Thunder. Oh no, Dunsparce somehow survives it though. What? I guess it's high special defense investment. Because if you're already, like, Speed Swap means that you can max hit points, max special defense, go into the Coil, and it was able to survive the Thunder, which is pretty crazy stuff. Dunsparce with the Rock Slide. Alright, so that's going to go hit the Raichu. Executor takes damage, and if Executor flinches, it only means bad things. But Kartana still has a Smart Strike as well, so just piling on the damage. I feel like the follow-up Pokemon are kind of the correct choice. You know, I wish I could have seen the Heal Pulse from Tapu Fini, because I feel like supporting Dunsparce would have been bigger. But then just throwing out, like, the Muddy Water also kind of shows to be pretty solid as well. So then Dunsparce has Dragon Rush. Why does Dunsparce have Dragon Rush? I guess for the coverage. So, super effective hit, and that works. And if the opponent was using Minimize, maybe. So, Dunsparce doesn't have Roost. And it just has 3 offensive moves. Okay. So Dunsparce actually a bit more surprising than I thought it was going to be. I thought the Dunsparce was just going to... Also, we do have more battles, as I showed earlier on. So let's go and start putting in those codes right there. Because I still have a lot to talk about the Dunsparce. Like, this is what I expected and then not what I expected. Just kind of like any good Fan Friday submission. Because, like, wait a second. Why does like, I understand when I saw the speed swap. Like, okay, we know what's happening with the speed swap, but outside of the speed swap, how's that going to break down, you know? So, enter it in the code. Normally I do make the video cut right there, but I was able to talk about it. And then we have triple offensive move Dunsparce just trying to hide behind that flinching as well, which is pretty crazy. So before the battle begins, I did also want to check on something really quick. So speed swap is weird. If you look at moves like Power Split and Guard Split, it actually ignores any of these stat boosts, but according to the Bulbapedia article, it seems like it just swaps the raw stats. So that means the +1 on the Pheromosa actually might go into the Dunsparce, so it's like a +1 Pheromosa speed Dunsparce, which means even like fast Pokemon under a Tailwind might not be able to catch the Dunsparce. So it's ultimately like the fastest thing ever, is kind of what I'm getting at right here. Now, I don't know if the article is like has super research into that or if that's how it actually plays out, but a little bit of an interesting thing. So Pheromosa is the ultimate sacrifice. You know, someone sees a Pheromosa, they're going to focus it down. Dunsparce is bulky enough to survive a hit, get the coil, and Pheromosa is fast enough anyways to where it doesn't have to matter, it doesn't have to worry about much. So it seems like this is like the perfect setup. And then Dunsparce, it's not really built for as much attack the way that it survived that Thunderbolt or the Thunder from the Raichu. So yeah, Thunder even, one of the more powerful attacks that we can see. So Dunsparce is bulky, gets the speed, and then just turns it into absolute shenanigans. So I love it. And then somehow just takes that +1, looks for coverage, and also tries to convert some KOs as well. So speed swap into Dunsparce. I'm trying to figure out ways of following this up. Like, I think Kartana is a really good way of doing that, just because of the amount of damage for the Kartana. So there we go. That's going to be Pheromosa getting wrecked, but it already gave up its speed. So that's pretty much what we're expecting right there. And then the burn-up Typhlosion going for that as Tapu Koko Dazzling Gleams Dunsparce. And Dunsparce survives it. Yeah, like, the amount of special defense on this Dunsparce is actually pretty nuts. I'm wondering if you could even, like, outside the coil, you could even Assault Vest this thing if you wanted to, with more, like, pure defensive investment just to make sure it never dies. Because it's gaining the speed. So after that, Dunsparce is just fine. And that's going to be the double Rock Slide. So Coil Rock Slide, see the split damage, like, I don't even know if the coil is worth it for the damage boosting when you follow it up with something like the Kartana. So Tapu Koko gets wrecked just like that. And then we're going to see the Typhlosion as well. So Kartana's Beast Boost, boosting the attack. And does Typhlosion flinch? No, it actually gets the Brick Break off onto the Kartana. So Kartana will be able to survive that super effective hit. And then Metagross comes in. So again, we're just like, I guess Metagross can kind of avoid it with a Bullet Punch, but that's going to be Dragon Rush onto the Typhlosion. Wait, does Dragon Rush have a chance to flinch? I feel like that's why, okay. That's actually really extra silly, because besides the minimize thing, I think Dragon Rush actually has a chance of flinching. So with the Serene Grace on the Dunsparce, Typhlosion flinches. And so, if Kartana outspeeds the other Pokemon anyways, you get the single target damage, and then Dunsparce Dragon Rushes the higher damage into the other Pokemon, single target, while also hitting just for that flinch as well. Now, Salamence comes out, and Dunsparce actually Dragon Rushing the Salamence. And then Kartana just outspeeds and finishes off the Typhlosion anyways. See, like, I don't know, like, this Dunsparce is a very curious... Oh, does the critical hit ratio get... I don't think critical hit ratio is boosted by Serene Grace. And if it is, then that means the Drill Run is also pretty crazy as well. So then Salaman's going to get flinched, and Typhlosion goes down, and then Dunsparce Dragon Rushes again. So this is taking the Dunsparce to a different level than anticipated for sure. Because I would have never thought, oh yeah, use the Dragon Rush for the flinch as well. Maybe for anti-minimize. But I would always just like commit to Rock Slide and having a harder Pokemon. But then Kartana can still work really well for that. So, yeah. That's crazy and strange. But it works in a surprising way. Like, I would have never, this is, okay. I'm speechless. Let's just go to the next battle before I keep jumbling over my words for another however long it is. And it seems to work pretty well. Like, it can be shut down if the opponent goes, crap, Dunsparce Pheromosa. I know exactly how to respond to this, so I need to take out the Dunsparce and not the Pheromosa. Because in any other situation, just letting the Pheromosa go could be absolutely devastating to the rest of the battle. So Muck's going to switch out. Doesn't want to eat a high jump kick or anything like that. I guess you don't want Kartana to eat a high jump kick, so maybe just switching out for other reasons, and then doesn't matter because of the speed swap. and then that leaves us to a Nihilego, and that can't deal with the Dunsparce. So it's pretty much, can it deal with Dunsparce? Hit the checkbox, and if they even care to try to stop the Dunsparce either. It's just so different. I'm trying to figure out, like, what else can be done with this to get the most out of it. And Dunsparce just goes for the drill run. Yeah, I feel like trying to turn Dunsparce into damage isn't worth it for the option. Like, that Nihilego did not die from that. And that would be very concerning. But hey, Rock Slide will be enough to finish it off, and then we're going to be able to go for the flinch onto Kartana. And Pheromosa survived, so it gets to do a thing as well with the Bug Buzz. See, that right there tells me that the speed stat actually stays on the Pheromosa. So kind of like what I was saying in the first battle, is that, okay, Pheromosa at least still has a +1 with Dunsparce level speed, so it's not completely useless if somehow it doesn't die. Oh, by the way, just 2 Pokemon fainted right there, and I guess this battle is already over. Rock Slide, okay. So, like, depending on who gets flinched and who doesn't, it's like Pheromosa can still just take this one to the bank. So, Bug Buzz is going to target the Muck, and it's going to be decent damage right there. So, Magnezone gets the Flash Cannon, though, and Flash Cannon is going to target the Pheromosa. Like, see, Pheromosa is that much of a threat. Like, you see the Dunsparce there. You know what the Dunsparce is doing to you. And then Muck is going to flinch. It's like, I would be terrified to leave the Dunsparce to infinitely flinch me like that. Now, I could see that if the opponent targets everything except for the Dunsparce, and Dunsparce is in a 1vx scenario, then maybe having the coil for, like, damage boosting and having the coverage could get Dunsparce out of a really bad situation. But at the same time, you're going for the flinches. Your setup is so that Dunsparce is never in that. Kartana gets the setup, and is Muck going to flinch again is the question. So Life Orb Kartana just playing it crazy. Oh, Muck has Explosion. I thought Explosion failed if it was your last Pokemon. Or it counts as a loss no matter what. And Dunsparce tanks it. So that doesn't matter either. And then game's over. Very strange. Yeah, I love this idea. I'm trying to figure out, like, what more can be done to take it to the next level. So it's a speed swap Dunsparce. Also, I'm just a little disappointed in myself for not coming up with something like this. It's so good. Every time I try to think, like, what can stop this besides, like, Prankster Taunt onto a Pheromosa? Like, that's what I mean. You have to know what this is going to do. Like, you have to see Dunsparce Pheromosa and then know exactly how the turn is going to play out and then shut it down accordingly. The average player that has never been exposed to this is going to have no idea what to do, and they're going to choose wrong. And thinking about, like, all the things, this is Z-move territory, where in the 7th generation, there's more new Pokemon that could support Dunsparce or other Pokemon in different ways. And Dunsparce is one of the most powerful Pokemon out there if it outspeeds. That if Dunsparce outspeeds you in a double battle, the game is pretty much over from there because everything just gets flinched, or at least it becomes a 2v1 scenario most of the time, and then sometimes it's just a double flinch. Like, come on, you get double flinched off of Landorus with that old 30%, you know, Scarf Landorus 30% chance to flinch you on a Rock Slide, versus Dunsparce with a 60% chance, so it gets even more terrifying from there. The playing it to the damage side is really what gets me. It's like, is that how you want to do it, or is that not how you want to do it? Assault Vest could be worth it, but seeing how the Tapu Fini didn't go for the Heal Pulse, and the Dunsparce didn't have Roost either, it's kind of a weird thing. But then also I'm thinking about some other Pokemon that could come in to follow up, like a fast Pokemon that does, or not even fast Pokemon, just like a high damage Pokemon with Fake Out. Fake Out's one of the Pokemon that gives Dunsparce a free turn to go for a Roost. That, you know, it roosts, there's only one Pokemon that's threatening you for the turn, so that's a way of doing it. Like, it's a 3v4, but Dunsparce has everything it needs to be worth like 5 Pokemon at that point. So I'm thinking like you just play like a 3v4 from there. You know, Pheromosa pretty much almost always going down. If it doesn't, that still translates to a win. And then once it does go down, you know, Dunsparce should be alive, and then you just like treat it like a fresh 2v2 lead. So a Fake Out Pokemon, a Pokemon that also has other forms of setup. Yeah, that's kind of nuts. What about Scarfarangru? Like, Scarfarangru Instruct, where would that speed go? How much would it be able to keep up with outspeed and then be able to, like, perma-flinch everything with that Dunsparce? There's just some weirdness going on. So, you know, a little bit of observation near the end about this, because it's such a crazy strategy, and it worked so crazy well. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, I hope to see you guys in the next Fan Fridays as well.